Peace and blessings, everyone. The role of the government, once again. We must demand more out of our government. We must want more out of our government. At the same time, we must remember that we, the people, are the government. In any government system in our nations, the people are the government. Even in dictatorships. For if the people truly wanted a change from a dictatorship, then they would cause a change by uprising, things of that nature. So the things that happens to a people of a nation, the injustices, the taking away of civil liberties, anything that happens, good and bad, is because of the people. The people are the government. What was the reason, what was the need for going over to remove Saddam Hussein for being unjust to some people? If they wanted a change, then they would rise up and create a change. If the majority of the people wanted a change, then they would rise up and cause a change. But because they didn't, then that's the government that they wanted or allowed. The people are always the government. The government is not its own entity. The government is not a being that controls everything. The government is the people. So instead of blacks getting upset when things like Katrina happen and we aren't taken care of correctly, we are mistreated and disrespected, don't get upset and complain about the government. Don't get upset and say that Bush or the president doesn't care about black people, because at the end of the day, you don't care about black people. If you don't stand up and do something, it's your fault. If you don't stand up and fight, it's your fault. You know it's going to happen. You're going to allow it, so it's going to be your fault at the end of the day, because we are the government. So, the issue, I had this book, it's called A Muculus Diet Healing System, Scientific Method of Eating Your Way to Health. And the reason for me bringing this book is because what it speaks of in this book is that the diseases that we all suffer from, the illnesses, are directly related to our diets. That the natural food for man are, raw and cooked fruits, starchless vegetables, and cooked or raw, mostly green leaf vegetables. All this stuff is bad. It's not natural for us. It's not good for us. I heard somewhere else where because we are electrical beings, because our body runs off electricity within it, is electrical, that we need to thus eat electrical food. And it comes back to whole foods, natural foods, herbs, vegetables. And when we don't eat of those things in the majority, then our body becomes susceptible to disease. So, like I said, it's saying how we should eat and things we should get rid of. Now, I can read this and it will make sense to me. It's written by a professor, and this professor has done extensive research, I must assume. I can get information online about him. There'll be those that will support him. And I'm sure out there there'll be those that will try to debunk him in some manner. And the only way for me to truly know if it's the truth of what he's saying and what he's teaching here is to do my own research, to do enough reading and gain enough knowledge, basically knowledge to become a doctor in this field, to truly know what is best for the human body. But that takes money and time, as does being knowledgeable about many things in this world. To truly become an expert, to get to the highest subjective truth of things, trying to get to the ultimate truth, it takes time. And since there are so many subjects to deal with, it's basically unrealistic. Thus, that's where our government comes in. If this is the truth, that we should be eating correct foods, that we should stop eating meat, which morally for me is reason enough to stop eating meat. We make up an excuse to be murderers and murder animals, other living beings, by saying, well, we gotta eat. But why do we have to eat meat? And so if it comes out that for us, that the most helpful, most natural thing for us is to cut out meat and eat the fruits and vegetables of that nature, then that's what we should do. And our government should be leading the cause in doing such. They should be doing the research, gaining knowledge, and putting that knowledge out to us, and maybe making it law that we do such. Now, does that take away our rights? In some way, yes, and in some way, no. If they do something that's truly for the best of us, then should it be a right? Well, yes, because then I will contradict myself, because I believe that we should be allowed to do drugs. So do I want the government to take our rights to do drugs? No. So I guess unless someone say that the government should lead us, put it out there, let us know the truth of what is beneficial for us. Maybe at the least, if this is true, then they will outlaw the eating of meats by children, because we must protect our children. That's why I don't agree that children should be allowed to do drugs. So in essence, come down to, when you are an adult, I believe you should have the option, the freedom to do whatever you want to yourself. So if you want to continue to eat meat, then do so. If you want to continue to eat foods that are bad for you, that will cause disease and cause you pain and suffering in your old age, then do so. But if this is important to protect us as a being, and we must protect our children, then it should be outlawed to subject our children to hurting their immune systems and whatnot. That should be the role of government. Once again, it comes down to you wanting it to happen. So if you don't care about this, if you still want to keep eating your prime ribs and your filet mignon and all that stuff, then go ahead. And in the end, and I've brought this many times, parents, if you truly love your children like you say, then you should be interested in this. You should be interested in the truth of how we harm ourselves. If you love your child, that's my take on it. So God bless, peace, and love.